right. Well, welcome ARIA family and probably non-ARIA members as well, as I believe we're on Facebook Live. So we have a great treat for you. My name is Aswatana Supar, co-chair of the Member Services Committee this year. And we have a big treat for everyone today. We have actually you know what? I'll leave it a mystery in terms of, Dan King, who's a fellow committee board member. He thought it'd be great for us to provide everyone here sort of a mindset coaching opportunity to talk about COVID-19, what we're doing post-COVID, and how we're going to lead our teams, into the second half of 2020 and also into 2021. So I've had the privilege to spend some time with our guest speakers, and they have energy, they have knowledge, and I'm just really, really excited for them to speak to everyone. So without further ado, I want to hand it off to my partner in crime, Dan King here, the myth, the legend, Dan. Thank you so much, Dan, for putting this together. I really want to, give a special shout out to you for really having the wherewithal to really think about, what we can do from member services to really provide value for our members. So without further ado, Dan, take it away.
Thanks, Ace, for that great introduction. I'm glad to be a part of this. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while within our organization and even my local community. I think we are all great leaders, and sometimes I personally need a push myself so I can grow, better serve, to do better, to serve our organization better. I've known Twan and Corey for quite some time now, and their content pushes me daily to grow, to be better. Without further ado, I'm gonna let them take over. Twan, Corey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Dan? Thank you.
Good, what's going on? Hey, thanks for having us, Dan, Ace.
Yes.
I'm fired up. I don't know about you guys. Definitely just having the opportunity just to be on Facebook Live at the same time. So we are totally pumped up. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So if you want me to kind of do a little short introduction of myself, I'll pass it over to Corey. But my name is Twan Nguyen. I'm a leadership branding coach. I work with a lot of team development and communication. So I'm joined here by my partner in crime here, Corey Davis of Empowered Leadership Company, and we're just here. We want to add some value to you guys. Definitely create some momentum and light this room on fire.
Well, hey, exactly. My name is Corey. I'm the founder of Empowered Leadership Company, and I always have the honor and privilege of being with Twan Nguyen. I mean, if you're connected with Twan at any level on Facebook, social media, this guy right here is just a ball of fire, and I just love being around him. He actually helps me stay energized, and hopefully you've come to get a little bit of energy, a kickstart for your day. Especially on this Thursday, and get a kickstart for the weekend. So if you can, hey, join with us as we go through the actual presentation. We want to see you in the chat. Put some things in the chat. If you're on Facebook Live, put some comments. Hey, give some likes, some hearts if what you are getting, you're liking. We definitely would love to see that as well. We love to see the engagement within the group. Although, yes, COVID has gotten us social distancing, but hey, we want to get close by seeing the interaction within the Facebook Live platform and also the Zoom room as well.
Yeah, so the key word here is engagement, all right? So here's why engagement is so important. And when we talk about leadership, right, our headline today is everything rises and falls on leadership. As a matter of fact, funny story, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and she was like, what you got going on today? I was like, well, I got a little speaking gig that, me and Corey are going to do. And she's like, who are you going to be speaking to? And I told her, I was like, I'm going to be speaking to a lot of realtors today and their teams. And she asked me, she goes, what does leadership have to do with anything? And so I want to ask you guys this same question right here. So you guys blow up the chat box if you guys are tuning in on Facebook Live. How important is leadership in your business right now?
Yeah.
I want to know where you guys are at, because here's the thing. You'll hear me say this today and every time you see me later on, is you have to find people before you can lead them. And that's the essence of leadership right there is we all have this great product, business, or service, but in order for that to be beneficial to our people, we got to find them. and we have to find them before we lead them. So what does leadership have to do with your business right now? How important is that? If you guys just type that in the chat box, we want to engage with you guys this afternoon, actually.
Yeah, it's afternoon for us.
Yeah.
We're joining you live from Katy, Texas. And yeah, what does leadership have to do with real estate? I think that's a very, very important question. It's a very important question for you to ponder as well as you think about your business, about the people you lead, the volunteers that you lead, the organizations that you're attached to. Aria, think about that, the organization. I mean, I see someone already put critical. Leadership is everything.
Right.
Our mentor, John Maxwell, we're both certified members of the John Maxwell team, mentored by John and Mark Cole, his CEO. And what John would tell you is, he not only say everything rises and falls on leadership, but he'll say leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
And you think about, sales is influence, marketing is influence, right? Leadership is influence.
Yeah.
So that comment right there, leadership is everything. I'm with you, Christine. Leadership is everything.
Absolutely. Angela said it's critical. I want to go a little bit further. Okay. So I love asking thought-provoking questions because I want you guys to think. I don't want this just to be this webinar where you guys just go through an experience and never actually gain anything from it. All right. So we'll be speaking about the difference between an experience versus an evaluated experience. And we'll touch on that later. But 2 questions I want to ask you guys right now. Somebody help me out. Type that on the chat box and Facebook Live too. Question number 1 is, what am I doing to develop myself? Okay. What am I doing to develop myself? And if you were to answer that and say, hey, man, I got a personal growth plan. I'm doing A, B, and C. I got this routine down. The secret to my success is in my daily routine. I got all this stuff going on for my personal growth. Hey, I'll tell you, hey, that's great. But if you don't have an answer for that, then I suggest that you need to start working on yourself, because everything is all about personal growth. Okay.
Yeah.
The second question I want to ask Corey is, what am I doing to develop others?
So good. So good. And that's that second question. That second question is all about how am I adding value to people? You see, we're people of value, and we're people of value who adds value to people. And a lot of times we're people of value who add value to people who multiply value to others. Because when you think about that, Twan and the group, if you want to add, you lead followers.
Yeah.
If you want to multiply your effectiveness, you lead leaders. And you lead leaders by adding value to them. So that first question, what am I doing to grow myself? See, you can't take someone to a place that you've never been. I remember when I went to, I was on a cruise one day, and it was my wife and I, we won a trip to go on the cruise. We were in the top 50 in the company. It was a large company, and they sent us to Florida. We went on the cruise, and on the cruise, there's these, there's these excursions. Right. And on the excursion, either you can go yourself or you can go with a tour guide. You see, what happens is a lot of times, Twan, is if we don't work on that first question, we're just like a travel agent. Not saying a travel agent doesn't travel, right, but they sending people to places that they're not going to. Where when we really dive into that first question, what am I doing to develop myself? We're that tour guide that we're taking people to a place that we've already been. So we're showing them the way. And you show them the way and you grow, and then that's how you can answer that question effectively. What am I doing to grow others? And we see a lot of great call outs in the chat box, Zoom meetings, webinars, sharing my experiences, getting a coach and a mentor. Some great stuff.
Good responses there. I want to add this to it. Okay. So you guys think about this. Okay. I believe everybody in this room right now on Facebook Live is aspiring to be a great leader, or they're in a great leadership position, and they all have teams. Okay. The first reason why I asked that first question is it's foundational for your future. Okay. When I say it's foundational for your future, you can't give something that you don't have. And it begins with you. If you expect to add value to this world and to your team, you have to add value to yourself.
Wow. And
that's why it's foundational for you. So I want you guys to really hone in on these 2 questions as we just kind of continue this session today. The question number 2 I asked is, what am I doing to develop others? The reason why I always ask that is it's compounding and multiplication. If you want to build a successful business and learn how to scale, you better learn how to develop people, unless you want to just be the Lone Ranger. And that's why leadership is so essential in team building and building on a successful business?
Yeah, Twan, I love that. And it's always central. When we say that phrase, everything rises and falls on leadership. Well, the rising of leadership is the good stuff. The rising of leadership is the wins, the success, the significance that we add to the world, that we add to people. That's the rising of leadership. Yeah. You know, the rising of leadership is the KPI performance, the key performance indicators, the maintaining a great work environment, work culture, maintaining a great some good experiences with the people that we work with the people that we lead.
Yeah.
But the falling of leadership is not having a surplus of leaders to take the next step or to take the role or to help you and to take your business to the next level. That's the falling of leadership. When you don't have a surplus, what I'm getting at is, how do you create a leadership culture within your organization? Because we see that leadership is critical, as we see there. We see that leadership, we can't do anything without leaders, as we're looking at the comment. Yeah. But when we take when you create a leadership culture, what happens is, in that culture is where leaders are systematically developed and there's a surplus of leaders ready to take the next step. That's a leadership culture.
Yeah.
And how you build that leadership culture is focusing on people. Because without the leadership culture, you don't have a surplus, which means that performance will eventually fall down, and then you will run yourself in the ground trying to get the work done. Have you ever found yourself trying to do everything because people are, things are falling through the cracks? Well, that's the falling of leadership right there. It's the shortfall.
Yeah. Hey, let's do this, Corey. I got another engaging question for you guys. You guys type in the chat box, even on the Facebook Live. Describe with one word what 2020 is like for your business right now.
One word.
One word. Just one word. I don't need a paragraph. One word. Describe to me what your business is like. Because I know.
Amazing.
I know.
Crazy. Interesting,
right? Because I know nobody predicted 2020 to be like this. I predict this was going to be an epic year for me. And let me tell you, it's epic.
It's epic.
Yeah.
Out of control.
Look,
we feel you. Abundance. Where you at Facebook Live? What's describe one word. In one word, what your business is like, right? I love that. And that's what it is. It's funny because I was listening to a call that I did on December the 19th, and it was about vision. It's about seeing into the future.
Right.
And on that call, I was listening to it, and I said, hey, we're running into 2020. Yeah. We got some big dreams, and we're going to do all these great things. And all of a sudden, we're in the middle of COVID right now.
Yeah.
And think about that. See, what that requires you to do is what we're going to refer to as leadership.
Yeah.
It's going to require you to leadership. It's the change. It's the shifting of what happens. See, the thing is you cannot remain the same, think the same, act the same, and hope to be successful in a world that does not remain the same.
Somebody wanted to type that in the notes right there. So, Corey, repeat that one more time, because you sounded like this rapper because you were rhyming, but that was so powerful because we're operating in a world that does not remain the same. So if I'm constantly staying the same, how do I keep up, especially when it comes to business? Like, I'm sure you guys are so accustomed to going to these local events, right? What happened to the local events?
Yeah.
This is it right here.
This is the local event.
This is the local event now.
I just watched Dan yesterday as he was showing a house on Facebook Live.
Right.
See, I mean, and this is the difference. We talk about leader shifting. We talk about shifting. How do you shift? How do you not remain the same?
Okay.
See, the way you stay on top of the game is you realize the game does not stay the same.
There you go. There you go. Rhyme again, bro. The game does not stay the same.
By the way, we do sell these one-liners for $1.99 a piece, right?
I'm gonna give you these one-liners for free today. Like, this is, you guys can thank Dan. I usually give away like 3 one-liners for $1.99. If you keep on practicing every single day, you're gonna sound just like me. Just get in front of the mirror, practice these one-liners every day. Get on a call with your client, and they're sold.
Yeah, and I see adapt. Christine put adapt. I see.
Christine said she loves one-liners.
Busy, right? See, leader shifting is the ability and the willingness to make a leadership change, and that will positively impact the organization or even your personal benefit. So it's the ability to adapt. It's the ability to make that change, that positive change, And that's really what we're going to talk about. When we say everything rises and falls on leadership, well, it's also about leading yourself. There's a comment in Facebook. I think it was Glenn. He put on there, leading yourself. It's leading yourself well. It's leading your people well. It's having that balance and harmony in your life, because guess what? We have a work life and we got a home life as well. All that stuff matters. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So how I lead in my organization is how I lead at home.
Yeah.
Everything affects everything. And that's the beauty of leadership. It doesn't stop in our work environment. It also continues on in our home environment.
Yeah.
So does anybody want to learn how to lead a shift and some things? So if you do want to learn how to lead a shift, hey, let us know. That put yes in the chat box, yes in the Facebook Live, and let us know that you're ready to learn how to lead a shift. There you go, Angela. I see you there. Dan,
let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Come on, I'm fired up. Don't get me fired.
So, but first, before we talk about that, Twan, there's 3 qualities that we want to talk about in order for leaders to stay relevant. And I think that's important, because if you're focused on the wrong thing, if you're, you know, I will say it this way: if you're answering questions that no one is asking, you risk becoming irrelevant. You're focused on the wrong thing.
Right.
You're trying to solve problems that nobody knows that they have. What we want to do is, hey, what's those 3 qualities that all leaders must possess in order to stay relevant today? And the first thing is the ability to motivate staff. So the ability to motivate staff. Somebody type that in. The ability to motivate staff. We don't want anybody to miss that.
Right.
And for me, it goes here. In the corporate environment, I'm not in the corporate world anymore. I'm an entrepreneur now with my business. But in the corporate environment, I was a human resources. I was certified as a senior certified professional with SHRM, with the Society of Human Resource Management. So a lot of the work that I did was employee engagement, work culture, work environment. And here's what I found out. There's a lot of times when we try to motivate staff, we think that we have to pay for stuff. But there's this thing, I want to share with you a free way to motivate people. So if you want to hear the free way to motivate people, let you just put yes, I want to hear it in the chat.
Type in free.
I'm not gonna share it unless somebody type it in there, because I want to make sure that, you know, we're doing the right things, right? Because hey, you know, in that corporate environment, you got to motivate people. You got to make sure that you help people stay, because we measured retention rate.
Yeah,
and that's important, right? You don't want to lose your best people. So if you don't want to lose your best people, I see it. Okay, you don't want to lose your best people. I see some people there.
Right.
I want you to write this down. A-R-E.
A-R-E. A-R-E.
A-R-E. R.
Yeah.
Very simple.
It's like Aria.
Yeah, kind of like Aria.
See,
with a couple of letters not there, right? Very simple. This is called free fuel. So put A-R-E, free fuel.
Yeah.
It's like getting free gas, right?
Free gas. I love
A is appreciation, recognition, and encouragement. Now you're probably saying, "Oh, that was all. I knew that."
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's things that's easy, but they're not. You know, they're simple, but they're not easy to do.
Right.
We don't take the time to give that ARE. We don't take the time to give that appreciation, recognition, and encouragement. So if you want to motivate your staff, we're going to think about ARE. What else? What else you'll say? Because I know you mentioned this earlier, the ability to understand your team. That's the second one, the ability to understand your team. So can you give them a little bit about finding your people before you lead them?
Okay, so look, going back to this, okay, here's one of those one-liners that you guys are probably going to steal from me and probably post it on your Facebook, which is totally cool. Just make sure to give me credit for it, right? But, okay, find them before you lead them, right? 3 things I want you to think about, right? Find them, lead them, empower them.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's good.
Find them, lead them, empower them. You can't empower and lead people without first finding them. Let me tell you a story about my mentor, John Maxwell, right? #1 leadership guru in the world. When he first started the John Maxwell Company, literally about maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, he hired a consultant by the name of Bob Bill to come in. Bob was in charge for training for the first 2 days, right? They paid Bob a lot of money to come and do training. You know what Bob did for the first 2 days? Guess. All he did was ask questions.
2 days.
2 days. Question after question. Question after question. And finally, John got so frustrated and he was like, "You're asking me like 500 questions." And he said, "Bob, can we stop with all the questions already? I'm paying you a whole lot of money to be asking me questions. Why so many questions? And I'll never forget what Bob said that day, because this was the shift in my communication. Bob said, I ask you questions because I have to find you first before I can lead you. And that leads me to ask you this. Have you been asking the right questions? And it's powerful, because a lot of us think that leadership is all about directing and telling people what to do. But in reality, it's the opposite. When we talk about servant leadership, great leaders are great connectors.
Wow.
And that comes through finding them by asking great questions.
It's like a pin drop. I mean, because you got to think about it. Are we listening? Are we listening to our people? Are we finding them before we try to lead them? Are we getting to a place and finding them right there, leading them from where they are? Are we constantly trying to pull them to where we are right now?
Yeah.
It's the leadership dance, everyone. You know, it's sometimes, you know, you got to be behind your people to push them forward and tell them they can go.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to be on the side of them, to walk on the side of them and say, hey, you're doing such a great job, and encouraging them and appreciation and recognition. And sometimes you got to be ahead of them, but not too far ahead, because you become a marker, not a leader.
Yeah.
You end up losing them.
Yeah.
So it's a fine balance, but finding the people before you lead them. I mean, it's just such a powerful point. So let's go to number 3, because we're not gonna have all day.
Yeah,
we're only gonna be here for 5 hours.
We still got a 117-page PowerPoint that we're gonna do at the end. It's called Death by PowerPoint. I'll leave that.
We haven't started the PowerPoint yet.
No,
it's just joking.
We're not gonna do it.
All right. So number 3 is the ability to lead yourself well. Think about that. The ability to lead yourself well. So we talked about 3 things. We talked about the ability to motivate staff to stay relevant, the ability to understand your team, and the ability to lead yourself well. See, self-leadership, somebody type this one in. Self-leadership is the highest and hardest form of leadership. Self-leadership is the highest form of leadership. Sometimes we think that, you know, leading others is the highest form. Well, that's probably level 1 of leadership, which is positional leadership. It's the hardest because guess what? We can give ourselves alibis. We judge people on their actions. We judge ourselves on our intentions.
Right.
So when you think about self-leadership, it's the highest and the hardest form. It's about us prioritizing our time. The 2 hardest things for leaders to do. There's two of the hardest things for a leader to do is prioritize their time and to think. It's to slow down and think. It's to slow down to self-reflect. It's to slow down to help yourself get in the right spot so you can lead others well. So, you know, we talk about this 80-20 rule. Is what's the 20% of the things that you're going to do that's going to move the 80%? It's the Pareto principle. You probably already knew what I was talking about before I even put it out there, right?
Right.
It's how do you lead yourself well? How do you lead yourself with your calendar, your time, your treasures, everything that you have, the people that you talk to? How are you self-leading yourself? And if you was to gauge yourself right now, if you say from 1 to 10, you don't have to type it in the chat. If I was to gauge myself, 1 being the worst, 10 being the highest of how I self-lead, what would that number be? What would your number be if you was to put that number in the box on your ability to self-lead yourself on your time and how you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with? And it is a very powerful thing to be able to self-lead.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
So the first thing that comes to mind is you just called everybody out and asked them what does their scoreboard look like right there. And I see an 8.3 from Dan. And I'm not asking you guys to actually type in your scoreboard, but how are you evaluating your scoreboard? Am I winning? Am I losing? All right. So 2020 is here. 2020 is here, right? So the question that comes to mind is, am I going through 2020 or am I growing through 2020? Wow. Am I going to my next opportunity or am I going to grow into the next opportunity? And there's a big difference there. And I got to be honest, if you don't have that mindset and if you're not surrounded with people that have that mindset, it's easy to get really complacent and comfortable in 2020, where you just go from experience to experience and you never really grow and evolve. And no one's holding you accountable either because you're not making any commitments public.
Wow. Yeah, and when you make a commitment that says, hey, 6 but getting higher, that's a public commitment.
That's it right there.
I mean, that's a public commitment right there.
Yeah.
And you're making it public, you're making it going. And here's the deal. Thomas Edgley has a quote. He says, change or die.
Yeah.
You know, and it's about us being able to change. And I would tell you right now, change required.
Yeah.
It's change required on all of us. And it's all about this, because when we hit COVID and all the things that's going on, the world is telling you change required. I have 5 kids. So of course we have a lot of presents that we gotta buy, right? And when I think about that, I remember buying toys for the kids. Swan, you buy this toy, especially on the holidays, on Christmas, and they open this toy and all of a sudden it says batteries required. See, it's CVS open. It's somebody over there we can get. But here's the deal. Not just batteries. It's like batteries required, but change required. You got to change. You got to shift, because we're not good enough to remain the same.
Yeah.
So Tawan, let's talk about 3 how-tos to shifting successfully.
Right.
We're going to give you 3 how-tos on making this successful shift, and then we'll be able to open it up for Q&A.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So the first thing on how to make this shift successfully is continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Somebody type that in the chat box. Help us out here, all right? There's a lot of rhyming going on, a bunch of one-liners. So if you guys don't keep up with the pace, then you guys might lose out. So yeah, continue to learn, unlearn,
and relearn.
Relearn. Break that down, Corey.
So if you think about it, if we're going to shift successfully, if we're going to change, because everything changed for everybody, let's just call it maybe 3-4 months ago, right? Everything changed. I mean, we got to continue to learn, unlearn, relearn. What do I need to learn today that I don't know right now?
Yeah.
See, Tawan talked about this thing. He said experience, and he talked about the other thing. We'd say experience is the best teacher. Have you ever heard that? Experience is the best teacher. But Tawan took it a little bit further. He said evaluated experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
See, when you evaluate your experience through 2020, what are the things that you need to learn that you know that you don't know right now? That you're conscious, competent, that, hey, I need to learn this in order to shift well, in order to make this next, because we got 6 months left in this year, right? In order to make the next 6 months better, what do I need to learn? The second thing is, what do I need to unlearn that's not relevant right now? There's a lot of things right now that was relevant 4 months ago that's not relevant right now. So if we're still stuck, if we're in the real estate business, we're still stuck on, I got to invite Tawan to go look at this open house. You need to unlearn that. We got to figure out, okay, what are the things that we need to dump?
Yeah. What
are the things that we need to throw out? Matter of fact, I put it this way. Sometimes I ask this question, when was the last time you did something for the first time? That means you're learning.
Yeah.
But on this one, it's, when was the last time you did something for the last time? You need to unlearn it. You need to let it go. The third thing is you need to relearn some things. See, prior to, we made a shift in our awareness. We made a shift in our thinking, and we forgot about some stuff. See, Tawan just talked about engagement. See, think about the communication skills that's needed today, maybe that you used before, but you wasn't using prior to COVID. You just kind of like let it go. But really, we need to relearn how to communicate better, relearn how to sell better, relearn how to connect with people on a whole different level. It's about adopting. That's right. Adoption is the key to my business. It's relearning that.
Yeah. So here's something that comes to mind. I'll ask you guys another thought-provoking question. All right. So I'm going to quote Amazon founder, CEO, Jeff Bezos, right? And this is my favorite. So this is why leadership is so important to me, because I believe the way you lead and communicate is how you brand yourself. Mm. The way you lead and communicate, whether it be in person or on social media, is the way you brand yourself. And so branding is, according to Jeff Bezos, says, branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Mm. So my question is, what are they saying about you right now? Like, what are people saying about you right now? And not only that, here's the other question. What should people be saying about you?
Wow.
And if they're not saying anything about you, maybe you have a branding problem, right? Because this is gonna be the segue into our next point, is what we did yesterday might not necessarily work in today, right? What won us an NBA championship last year with my dream team last year might not win me the same championship this year. So moving on to our next point is value yesterday, but live in today.
Come on.
What is
Type that in. Value yesterday and live in today. You know, that's the thing. I love what you just said, the trophies. You know, matter of fact, I think it was Babe Ruth or maybe Yogi Berra, one of them, that said yesterday's home runs don't win today's games.
Yeah.
You know, I know John talks about, hey, you know, celebrate for 24 hours or lament for 24 hours, whatever it is, but live in today.
Yeah.
Yesterday ended last night.
Yeah. So look, here, I'll give you guys some suggestions. If you guys want to get a nice little billboard behind you, get a billboard that says yesterday ended last night. Yesterday ended last night. I love what John speaks about. The reason why a lot of teams never repeat championships is they spend all year celebrating. And so the same game plan they did last year might not necessarily work today. So that brings us back to, are we shifting from yesterday into what's working today? Another great statement that I want to throw at you guys is, if I'm not willing to make a change to become better today, then why do I need tomorrow?
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one, right? So yeah, ask yourself right now, am I making the necessary changes today so that I can become better tomorrow? And if I'm not, then why do I need tomorrow? Just stay the same.
Yeah.
Change or die.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's being in that mindset of being grateful for yesterday, but yet bored with it. Like, because it's how do I get better? We should be striving for getting better. You've heard the phrase, good is the enemy of best. Well, best is the enemy of better. You know, there's a tension between wanting to be in our very best today and yet striving for a better best tomorrow. Yeah. It's how do we continue to strive for a better best tomorrow? The other thing I want to make a little shift here is, when you think about that, is what we did yesterday that's keeping us from being in balance and in harmony in our lives. Because there's no doubt, I mean, you have some high level leaders on this call right now who's watching on Facebook, who have a business, and then you also have the organization, you have the nonprofit, you have your family, you're juggling just all of these different balls. So when you think about valuing yesterday, yes, I did this yesterday, but what am I going to do today? How do I make today count? How do I make that shift and find that balance and harmony that I was always searching for? Those are the things I want you to kind of think about, because even in this presentation around leadership, we're not just talking about how it affects you at work. Remember how it also affects you at home. So what's the shifts that you need to make, those strategic things that you need to make in order to win very well tomorrow? You may have won before, but hey, there's a bigger win waiting on you when you make these critical shifts in your life.
Okay, I got to throw this in here. Okay. How you conduct yourself in this pandemic will be how people will respect you afterwards. So I want you guys to really think about that. Is the way I add value as a leader and a communicator to my community, to my family, to my team, is how I'm going to be remembered. All right. And it's easy for us to get caught up in this pandemic where it's like, you know what, since I'm just staying at home all the time, I don't really need to be connecting and really adding value because, hey, no one really knows anyway. But I want to ask this question right here. What are you doing today that will increase others' respect for you?
Wow.
And I have to say, everybody wants to gain respect, right? You know, you want to become a leader. You want to become a leader that everyone loves to follow. Can I get an amen on that? Or we can't do hearts, right? But right. Can we agree to that everyone desires to become a leader that everyone loves to follow?
There we go.
Absolutely. I didn't even have to ask that question because I know deep down inside, everyone wants to be respected as a great leader. And that's really why me and Corey are just passionate about what we're doing. I mean, there might be some shots fired in this room, but that's what we call friendly fire, okay? It's good. Sometimes you guys just need that friendly fire where it's like, ouch, he's speaking to me, but I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah. Love hurts. I
love hurts. Yeah. Come on, Christine.
You got some amens though, man. Amen.
I know it's not a church service, but you know.
We got to know if you're getting it, because if you don't get it, we're going to repeat it. We're just going to keep on going.
We're just going to keep on pounding and pounding.
Well, all right. So we're going to talk about 3 how to shift successfully. The first one was, remember, continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn. The second was value yesterday, but live into today. I love that, because when you think about that, it's most of the time we overestimate tomorrow. We underestimate the value of today. And we over-exaggerate yesterday. Come on, yesterday sometimes just wasn't that good, right? So let's go to the third one. See the big picture as the picture keeps getting bigger.
See the big picture as the picture keeps getting bigger, all right?
It's vision, right?
Yeah.
It's, are you fencing in or are you fencing out? There's a story about a banker who only, branches would go to the bank and get some money, right? Anybody want to go to the bank and get some money? I mean, y'all probably deal with a lot of people that need to go to the bank and get some money, right?
I got Cash App too. Cash App will work too.
Here's the deal. Well, the banker will always ask the rancher, are you fencing in or are you fencing out? Because here's what he wanted to know. Are you maintaining or are you creating more? You see, when you think about this leader shifting, it's am I maintaining this within my 4 walls? Am I maintaining and staying in the box? Am I fencing in, or I'm looking to live outside the box and see more? Am I fencing out so I can look out and see the big picture as the big picture keeps getting bigger? Because the higher you go on the mountain, so think about if you're climbing a hill, well, the more you climb the hill, the more you see. You get to see the bigger picture as the picture keeps getting bigger. So the moral of the story is the banker will only give loans to the ones who answer his question, I'm fencing out. Because they were looking to grow, they were looking to move, they were looking to expand their loan capability for the bank. So, but what about you? Are you fencing in your mind? Or are you fencing out? Is it a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Twan talks about, are we going through COVID or are we growing through COVID? Growing through will be fencing out. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, so don't pass me the mic. I got a lot to say. Mic drop moment. Okay, so we talked about, just talking about vision, right? See the big picture as the picture keeps on getting bigger. What if I told you that if you invested in your leadership today and remain consistent in it, you would be able to see more and before? Twan, what the heck are you talking about, more and before? Yes, I'm talking about great leaders are able to see more and before. Here's a great example. Me and Corey, we're in a room full of leaders. We're talking about plans and ideas, and all of a sudden that one leader grabs a hold of the idea and he starts running with it. And he already has the game plan laid out. And here I am saying, wait, what do we got going on? Well, that's what I'm talking about. Leaders are able to see more and before. And if you're in a room where leaders are seeing more and before and you're still trying to catch the vision, you're not the leader of the pack. But let me tell you something. There is hope. And that's why leadership and communication is so essential, so paramount, because if you want to see more and before and be able to elevate and develop your team, leadership is paramount. So now I want you to turn to your neighbor right now, and you can just look at him to the side and just say, hey, there's hope for you.
Look, I see heads turning.
Look, heads turning, right? There's hope for you.
Kind of like a game show. You know those game shows you watch back in the day? There's hope for you, Twan.
There's hope for you too, Corey.
Well, that's what it's all about. We're talking about, everything rises and falls on leadership in the context of leader shifting and making these changes, making this adaptation, adapting to what's coming. I love how you talked about seeing more and before. And how do you see more and before? There's 3 vision statements I want to give to you. That way you can get a little bit of more and before. Be ready to write these down. The vision statement number 1 is, what you see determines what you can be. what you see determines what you can be. See, there's people who never see it. They are wanderers. There's people who see it and never pursue it on their own, where they're followers. There's people who see it, pursue it. They're achievers. And then there's people who see it, pursue it, and then help others see it and pursue it. Those are the leaders.
Yeah.
See, what you see determines what you can be. The second vision statement is you see only what you are prepared to see. So if you think about how am I seeing more than before, because I'm thinking about we're growing through this pandemic, but there's an opportunity for you to wake up and be intentional and prepare yourself to see more than before. So what are you prepared to see during the day? How are you going to prepare yourself to see more than before? How are you going to prepare yourself to see those opportunities when other people say opportunities just don't exist? When you got the people complaining around you, when you have the complaint spirit within yourself, how are you going to slow that down and say, hold on, let me prepare myself to see more than before? And the third one is what you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get.
So whatever I'm getting today is what I've been seeing yesterday. I'm only as good as what I've been seeing already. What I see is what I get. And think about that. How is that affecting my life right now? How's it affecting my business? And then more importantly is if I don't like what I'm seeing, see, my dogs don't like it right now either. If I don't like what I'm seeing, how do I change what I'm seeing to get what I'm trying to get? But it's not really about getting, even though I use the word get, it's about becoming.
Yeah.
Because you become this person of value to maintain whatever you're trying to get. So any other thoughts on that, Tuan, before we wrap it up?
You talk about value, and it's easy for us to get caught up in chasing after success. But let me remind you something that's so crucial right now is never chase success, but rather become that person of value.
Mm.
And what makes you a person of value is you have to have vision. You have to have leadership. Communication is by far one of the greatest attributes that you can learn because it's priceless. It's priceless what communication can do once you master becoming a great connector. Imagine what that can do to your business as well as building your team. You know the difference between a leader versus a great leader is? A leader has ability while a great leader has the ability to recognize the team's ability.
Mm. So good, yeah.
And then that's where value comes in, where you learn how to not only lead yourself well, but you lead others well. And then that's the foundation right there, where it starts with you and then starts with building your team. And that's how you build and scale a big, successful business.
That's a blueprint, y'all. It starts with you. We move from me to we.
Yeah.
We get the team around us. We build the people around us because we're in the people business. It's just everything we do evolves around people. If you look at the heart of any company, it's a human heart and it's beating. And how do you touch the heart? See, before we lead people, and as we wrap up, before we lead the people, we got to touch their heart. And how do you touch their heart and engage with them and understand who they are?
Yeah.
Because nothing works without people. You cannot achieve anything of significance without other people around you. So hopefully you got something out of this.
Hopefully.
As we went through, I mean, we had some great comments, and I love the chat right
somebody
there.
Somebody called us Yvonne, you called us the Corona bonus. Is that what
it's the
Corona bonus? Okay, cool. I'll take that.
I don't know if she was getting the Corona bonus or you. We'll just take it. Right?
Yeah, I'll work on giving you guys a Corona bonus.
Well, as we want to say thank you for this opportunity. We also want to open it up for questions that you may have. Definitely, for us are about leadership, about the journey.
Yeah, I mean, Q&A questions. If you guys don't have any questions, give us your biggest takeaway just from this session today. We really want to know how we were able to add value to you and to your team today. So feedback is great for us.
Yeah.
Questions are great too. So we're gonna open up the queue right now.
Yeah, and you can put some of your feedback right there in the chat or on the Facebook Live. But yeah, definitely, if you have a question, you can submit it. It should be a question button that you can submit it to, or you can put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey guys, that was some fire content. If anybody on the panel here or on this webinar has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question or leave your comment. So feel free to unmute yourself.
Dan, if or before we answer any questions, I just gotta say hallelujah. Let's go.
Come on, man.
Corey, Twan, not only did you bring entertainment, you brought wisdom, and then pretty much the takeaways that I got was the one-liners were amazing, right? From me to we. And I think that's everything that everyone on this call, and when Dan mentioned yourself, Twan, I was really excited to hear you guys speak. But man, when I say I'm blown away by the knowledge that you have actually poured out to this organization, and for those that have missed this Zoom call, I hope we recorded it. Obviously we did. It's a Facebook Live, and I just can't wait to replay this for all the folks in the organization, because it adds tremendous value, guys. Like, you have no idea. And there's so many takeaways that I want to bring to my team as well. And it's stuff that we already possibly are doing. If not, we should incorporate. And honestly, guys, I would want you guys to come back, speak to the team on a larger scale, because you guys bring it, man. You bring the energy, you bring the wisdom, you got the jokes, you got the one-liners. It's all in one, So, but thank you for your time, and thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you've brought upon us. And, I'll open up to any questions for the team here, but, some great stuff here.
Hey, thank you, Ace.
Thank you, Ace. Yeah,
definitely. New next Property Brothers, man. And
yeah, you guys are
That's
speaking,
it.
Right. Yeah, any questions that you have, definitely we're here to answer those questions for you.
Yeah, takeaways too. I love hearing the takeaways, because here's the thing why it's so important for you guys to speak, because when you're creating team culture, look, don't mistake in a team working together. A team that works together is a team that trusts each other. There's a big difference. And so when we're talking about team building, does my team trust me? Does the entire team trust each other? And that's very important, because we have to create that culture where we can have hard conversations.
Yeah.
Feedback, what's working, what's not working, things like that.
Good stuff. Any questions from the group, Dan, or?
Anybody want to unmute themselves and ask the question?
Yeah, go ahead and unmute. This is not a shy either.
No, don't be shy.
They're usually not shy.
We would love to see your faces. Come on, come on.
Yeah, when we do our calls, is the first person that looks at the camera. We just call them.
Yeah,
I think everybody's looking down.
Yeah, I can't see.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Lori.
Hey, Dan, it's Lori. How are you?
Good. Lori is one of our board members here in Houston. Do you have a question for these?
I do. First, I'll say I'm working from home today, so no judgment. I love your energy. Thank you guys so much. So I lead a team of about 80 people. So I'm in the title insurance business. So what do we do when we're adding people to our teams? Because business is amazing, I will tell you. How do you get them to buy into that trust quickly, right? I immediately think everyone should trust me, everyone should believe in me, but it's a slow process for some people. So what are some tips and ideas to get them on board?
Oh, great question, Lori. It's Lori, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Great question. I would say I'll tackle it first, and I'll let Twan go through it. When you think about trust, you think about buy-in. Yeah. It's really getting them to buy into you as a leader first.
Yep.
Right.
And how you do that is you got to think about, there's 3 questions they're going to be asking.
Yep.
Do you know me? Do you care for me? And can I trust you?
Yeah.
And you build those, as you think through everything that you talk to them about is filtered through those different things. Is how do I connect with them? How do I get to know them better? Twan talked about asking questions to find them. Ask questions first. I think trust is built by asking questions first, especially right now. Trust is built on difficult ground. We're all on difficult ground right now, right?
Yes.
We got a common experience. So I would tackle it that way, is just kind of thinking through the 3. Hey, they like to, it's know, like, and trust. Okay. And that's everything. You think about even sales, it's know, like, and trust as well, right?
Right. I like that. Thank you.
Are you welcome?
Thank you.
Yeah, Lori, so I'll add to that. So I want you to really, we're going to define what connecting is, okay? So you want to become a great connector. What makes a connector really great is you connect with your people. It's simple.
Right.
So connecting is, number one, having the ability to identify, and then two, the ability to relate with the person so that you can gain influence. So look, people buy into people, right? And so something I love using is, look, it's easy for us to impress people with our success, but truly we can impact people through our failures.
Yeah.
Right.
Something that really draws me to wanting to follow someone is vulnerability, transparency, and seeing that, hey, I'm following someone that's real and that I can connect with. And that's why we're really big on the word authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, and so am I finding strategic ways to learn how to connect to my people or to my team? Because you said it earlier, we can't expect to ask for the hand unless we touch the heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thanks for asking the question.
Sure.
Who else? Any other thought-provoking questions?
I feel like I need to give out a prize for someone to ask questions. Like,
He's gonna break out.
just go ahead. Look, do me a favor. Just type in your Cash App, and whoever asks the greatest questions will send you some money.
Oh, like any advice for you if you have a group of people?
Hey guys, there's a question right there in the group chat. See if you can.
Yeah, we see.
Yeah, with great ideas and strengths, but with personality differences and differences in focus. How would you encourage the team to work, create a productive environment? Great question there, because let me talk about the first part. You know, we talk about you have a group of leaders with all great ideas and strengths, but with personality differences and differences in focus. That's a very, very important one there, because everybody's going to play within their own, well, we call strength zones. We do DISC as well. Yeah. And when you think about those personalities, is some people are going to like face-to-face engaging conversations. They just want to hear it. Just tell me the bottom line and I'll go. That's a D personality. There's going to be people with the I that's going to just they want to engage with you and they want you to know their names. They want you to listen to them. They'll feel crushed if you don't listen to them. So that will be a clash there. And then you have your C's that will, they want to know all the content, everything about it. So when you think about engaging with people, you got to understand is we got this golden rule, right? Treat others like you want to be treated. You got to take it one step further. The platinum rule. Treat others like they want to be treated. Talk to them like they want to be talked to. Engage with them. What I used to do from an HR perspective is I used to have these touch bases with people to get to know them, or on another level. And one of the questions I always asked was, hey, how do you want us to communicate with you? Do you like text? Do you like email? Do you like a phone call? What does that look like? And another question is when you're not focused, because that's another part on there, right? Or you're not reaching your goals, how do you want me to hold you accountable? Because what you're doing there is you're asking them, and then you're moving at their pace. So if they say, hey, I need you to do this, well, that's what you do. Especially if it's in line with what the company needs and how to move the team forward. So it's just another way of just kind of helping them be a part of the process. Right. Personality differences, they could be unique to deal with, but it's once you understand people and how they want to talk to you, how they want to engage with you, how their personality is. Maybe they're quiet. Some people are going to be talkative, but you just got to understand. When you asking those questions, you finding them, then you better lead them well.
Yeah, it's, another thing that comes to mind too is everybody has a different communication style. Like, you guys have heard of the 5 love languages, right? How many of you guys have just failed horribly trying to, apply like this type of love, and then your significant other is like, I don't want that. Like me, I'll try to shower you with gifts, right? Because it's easy for me, and like that's kind of like my love language. I like getting gifts and stuff. Well, I've been in some relationships where I try to shower people, my significant other or whatever, with a gift, and that's not what she wants. She wants quality time, and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to do quality time right now. Let me just buy your love, right? Well, it's the same thing with leadership too. It's like everybody has a certain communication style. Like sometimes early in my leadership, I was considered the affirmation junkie, Why? Because I love people doing the, woo, good job, Twan, you rocked the house. Well, that was great. But a lot of people, they're not accustomed to affirmation. So that, you know, it's just really learning how to communicate with different people's styles. And going back, here's something I would suggest. Going back to asking great questions. Everybody has different temperament styles. And that's why, you know, learning everyone's communication personality style is so important. And here's another bonus too. We're talking about creating an environment where everyone gets validation, right? Spend some time with innovation.
Yeah.
And if you would actually spend some time and just create maybe 30 minutes, maybe a month or a week, I don't know how much time you want to do that, but give that room for innovation for your team. Because I'm telling you, there's some powerful ideas just brewing on your team right now, but you guys aren't creating that environment for them to talk.
Yeah.
And then they don't seem validated. And so they're not going to talk. And so like Andy Stanley says, look, when a leader stops listening to his team or his people, he's going to find himself surrounded by a bunch of people that have nothing to say.
Yeah. And I think that you think about the company goals and have been addressed effectively. I think it starts with culture. It starts, you know, you set culture by 3 questions. And I've always used these 3 questions. The 3 questions work. It's what is expected. So everybody should know what should be expected, what should be corrected when the goal's not met, and what should be celebrated.
Yeah.
And if you think about those 3 questions, you'll be able to address those company goals effectively. Because, you know, you're going to celebrate what should be celebrated because it meets the expectations. And you're going to correct the things that need to be corrected because it didn't meet the expectations. The problem is sometimes we celebrate things that don't meet expectations.
Yeah.
And we form that culture by default. I look at another one that says, how do you lead people when people that contradict stuff and refuse to understand you? I think what you do is you kind of think about, why don't they understand me? You know, and I start with myself first, and this is me. This is a me and me deal here. And I start asking the questions, how can I lead my people to understand me?
Right.
You know, am I asking enough questions? You know, when I give vision, am I repeating it enough so they can get it? Because I know Lori asked about vision as well. Well, vision leaks. And if I know that as a leader, and if I'm not repeating the vision clearly and concisely enough, well, they're not going to understand me. As a matter of fact, they may contradict me because they may be moving in a different direction. It's sometimes you're going to have people that refuse you, but I normally always start with me first and say, how can I lead my people better? How can I lead them more effectively? And hopefully that helps you out.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next one. Experience, enthusiasm, and execution. What's the most important? You know, I've never been asked that question on a live call today.
So I left that one for you.
Yeah, so I see how you dodged the mic, and I'm going to go ahead and tackle this by saying, get on a one-on-one call with me afterwards, Charles, and we'll discuss that. Look, see how it shifted? That's leader shifting right there. No, all those are great. I think enthusiasm is great because here's the thing. Another great question is, are you a momentum maker or are you a momentum breaker? Okay. Are you creating momentum for your team or are you breaking momentum? Or here's the third one. Maybe you're just a momentum taker. And a momentum taker is one that is not willing to get on the bus. They have to get escorted onto the bus, right? So as everybody's taking off and taking flight, they're sitting there waiting for someone to carry them. So they're a momentum taker. So enthusiasm is essential because how are you going to get things going without momentum?
Yeah.
You're either going to be a momentum maker or a momentum breaker. And you already know what momentum breakers do. They break the momentum of the team.
Momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it. I mean, all 3 are obviously essential. I mean, execution. I mean, I remember I was listening to Eric Thomas one time. He talked about innovation is rewarded, but execution is worshiped, especially in your world. I mean, the executing, right? Getting the sale done, getting the thing done, execution is worship. But at the same time, you still got to have experience. You're still going to have some type of enthusiasm because enthusiasm attracts people.
Yeah.
You know, I like Zig Ziglar says enthusiasm at the end, ISAM, well, I am sold myself. So if you're not sold on yourself, if you're not sold on your product and you're not enthusiastic on it, you know, if Twan and I came to this thing and just like, hey, how y'all doing? We're Twan and Corey. And you see Christina like, man, that's just, I wouldn't be here, right?
Yeah,
So
she's
you
like,
got to have some type of enthusiasm about it.
yeah, I'll just throw you guys money. How about that? Buy our love.
Well, somebody already asking what's the
Yeah.
prizes. I mean,
Yeah, I know. And here's the thing. I know you guys are asking about bonuses and prizes. We got to wrap it up. How about that? You guys.
Speaking of prizes, we're going to wrap the prize.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. I had a blast. I really did. You guys feel free to connect and follow us on Facebook too, Twan Wynn and Corey Davis. But yeah, I'm going to pass the mic back to Dan. We had a good time, Dan. Thank you so much for having us on board this afternoon.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, that was awesome content, guys. So everybody out there watching, stay connected with these guys for more inspirational and leadership one-liners. So thank you guys for joining. We'll see you guys at the next event. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.